Hello my friends and welcome straight away to the good news. Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, there Ukraine started the counteroffensive. It was really successful. 225th Brigade performed this task, liberating four of the villages: Aristopol, Novoselivka, Sosnivka, Horoshe and Vorone. It's 5 of the villages. Awesome, fantastic job, which was performed by 225th Brigade. The Ukrainians put even some of the flags out there. There is the interview with our guys who say that definitely they were successful in several of those settlements. So Russians mostly had the presence in those villages with just limited amount of the forces. Few of the people, usually they're doing those flag operations filmed by the drones, and after it, those Russians, they just go down into the basements waiting for reinforcements, and usually reinforcements, they do not come. And finally, Ukrainian army visits them with drones and infantry forces liberating villages. Fantastic job done by 225th. They're awesome. Well guys, in this video I'm not just gonna tell about only positive news, because we have mixed information coming. For example, Russians went into Hulyaipole already. Moreover, they captured the Ukrainian Brigade Command Headquarters building with lots of the equipment inside. Luckily, our guys evacuated almost at the proper time. We're gonna review that video. It's not fake, it was shared yesterday, so I have the confirmation that it is definitely real. It was filmed by Russians. But at first I want to start from the positive news coming from the front lines, and not only. Alright, from the good news we have the Ukrainian counteroffensive, which is already at least partially successful. The Ukrainian army has launched a counterattack north of Pokrovsk and have retaken Suhetske, Suvorove and Krasnolimanske mine north of Rodinske. They're also retaking large parts of Rodinske itself. According to OSINT Analytics, we have this information published in internet. Well, it's very fresh information, was published roughly 3 hours ago. So here, we have the information about the presence of the Ukrainian infantry. The fight is ongoing in Rodinske. Before, there was the presence of the Russian army confirmed in this place, and now Ukraine moves ahead towards Suhetske, Zatushok. Before, Russia tried to send those reinforcements here, this big convoy that was absolutely ambushed. I already showed you multiple of the videos, and guys, you may follow me on Telegram or on Kik also, where I showed those convoys without censorship. So on Kik I stream those videos maybe once per 2 days or something. Luckily now we have lots of the content sent to us by Russia, lots of the videos of those demolished Russian vehicles. By the way, let me show you one more convoy. Russia lost this one couple of days ago, and today they sent one more. Less of the vehicles, but still they were ambushed. Yeah, it happened again. The Russians went on attack with those convoys in Konstantinovka direction once again. Just a couple of days ago they formed a very long convoy, but it seems like they never learn. Yes, those Hunger type of the vehicles and this protection helps for a while, but still Ukraine is capable to break through this armor and hit the tanks and BMPs. Precisely. Our drone operators have to waste lots of the shells, lots of the drones, but nevertheless, finally they're successful. As a rule, 99% of all of those attacks, they fail miserably. And once again, Konstantinovka direction, here you may see that Ukraine operates further away from the actual front line, demolishing Russian, I guess, motorcycles here. Probably it's the all-terrain vehicle. Several of those in the same spot were kaputted by Ukrainian drones. The village of Pivden, really far away, like maybe even 8 kilometers away. The other convoy went a little closer to Novospassky. Here there were motorcycles. For Spotify and for YouTube, guys, I cannot show you this image, unfortunately, like fully played. But all of those marks are the Russian vehicle losses. New York, that was occupied by Russia a long time ago. Even there, Russia just cannot stay safe. They lose their vehicles elsewhere. At the front line, behind the front line. They're usually not even reaching Ukrainian positions. It's the complete disaster for them with those significant losses. And they cannot compensate their losses already. It's impossible. Our analytics say that, and military command. So Russia, the next year, they'll have to announce a new mobilization, or they'll have to stop this war, at least for some period of time, because those losses are impossible, even for the Russian army. They behave like they have infinite resources, but it's not like that, not even close. And returning back to Pokrovsk, there was the infantry Russian group. They tried to infiltrate Ukrainian positions. They crossed the railway, went to the northern side of the settlement, but Ukraine spotted those Russian soldiers and they were flatlined. It happens day after day, every day, and our drone operators, they overwhelmed with this job, but they continue to do it very precisely. Yeah, it was the compilation, multiple of the infiltration attacks. Probably I can show you this blurred image, some of the thermal images too, and lately there was no any sort of the fog in Pokrovsk. That's why Russia also slowed down with those infiltration attempts, but they continue to do it. Before it was more massive than it is right now. In Mirnograd, we have reports with confirmation of the videos of the presence of the Ukrainian army, and our guys, they're probably trying to finally leave positions. That's why Ukraine probably started the counteroffensive, which is happening in the northern area, not far away from Rodinske, to distract the Russian army and simultaneously to move the forces out. Well, I would say it's quite logical. I would do it, but maybe Ukrainian command has a different option. Maybe they want to continue to hold Mirnograd for some extensive period of time. I don't know. I'm not a military guy, not even the military expert. What I tell about Mirnograd, Pokrovsk and all of those directions is what I obtain from our volunteers, our officers, and I just translate and transfer the remarks to you, my friends. That's my duty, because they know better than me, of course. Wow, even in Mirnograd, our guys were capable to capture Russians, so not Russians captured Ukrainians in Mirnograd, which is partially encircled, yeah? But Ukrainians managed to take Russian prisoners of war. Crazy! Outstanding, really. It also tells that there is just a partial, let's say, presence of the Russian army, not the full-scale armed forces as, for example, they have in their bridgeheads. We may say 100% that southern area of Pokrovsk is being flooded by Russian army. Still, they're hiding in the basements, but there is significant presence, several hundreds of Russians there. But in Mirnograd, or in away from Mirnograd, no, just occasionally there are some of the small Russian groups. And those Russians, as in this case, were trapped and imprisoned. Nice.
It is a very sad story. And the government of India should be very concerned.
We think Russia and Ukraine, it's like Soviet Union.
So this guy, yeah, probably you won't see him behind my image, but this guy was also captured. He was captured by our guys from the 3rd Army Corps, I guess in Pokrovsk direction. He is definitely a citizen of India. It means that Russia sends all of those people around, foreigners, mercenaries, their own soldiers, mobilized, not mobilized, everyone. And this guy was just lucky enough to survive and to surrender to Ukrainian army. Well, he says he joined the Russian army because he was misled by his contract. He wanted to go to Russia just for work, you know, but our guys found out in his phone that he definitely supported USSR and Russian peace, so what he says is a pure lies. He definitely joined the Russian army for killing, and probably soon he's going to be exchanged. But whether he joins the Russian army once again, who knows, but his life for now is safe, his miserable life. Yeah, there are also several of the video compilations coming from our guys, how they fight aerial targets, some of the ground targets elsewhere on the front lines. This is Zaporizhia direction. Fantastic job in interception of those Lancet drones, which are the pain in the ass, especially for Ukrainian artillery and for our drone operators, because Lancets may fly for around 100 kilometers behind the front lines or from starting point, let's say. Guys, we still have some of the positive news, but here I want to tell about bad news also, because this channel is only about truth, and if we have something wrong, I also have to say about it. Well, Russians, they're already in the central part of Hulyaipole, and definitely they went to the local headquarters of Ukraine. There was the fight inside the headquarters, and just by luck, most of our personnel, together with the command of the local territorial defense battalion, was capable to evacuate. Well, not everyone evacuated. Sadly, one of the commanders lost his life, but the rest survived. However, because of this fight that happened very close, they didn't destroy all of the equipment there. It was left, I would say, for Russians. And let's watch the video which Russians filmed and published yesterday. So here are the Russian soldiers. You can see those are not Chmobiks or Mobiks. They have pretty much good gear. Those are the capable Russian forces. So the idea for Russia is to attack with not that capable forces at first, but the experienced soldiers, they usually attack from the flanks. And here, those are not simple guys from what I see.
Вашему вниманию, кабинет.
I will translate it to you with my comments. So here they say is the room of the head of the battalion of the territorial defense of Ukraine.
Командира батальона. Проходите, снимайте.
Yeah, the commander of the battalion. And this is legit. This is not filmed somewhere in Moscow cinema studio. This is definitely a legit video. It was confirmed by our guys, our military personnel, deep state analytics, and everyone around. Sternenko volunteer, our officers. Sadly, but we don't have yet the official comment from the head of the Ukrainian territorial defense or Ukrainian commander Syrsky or anyone else. It seems like they are not communicating, which is bad. They should explain that, okay? They should tell why it happened, at least something. We are working for this not to happen once again, but they're silent, and people, they see those Russian videos, what should they think? Because it happened for the first time since 2022. Then Russia really got the headquarters just like that with all of the equipment left.
Это их флаг.
That's the flag.
Бригадный.
I'll reduce the volume. You can see laptops.
Вместе остался.
I reduced the volume just for you to tell you everything. The phone, here they say, this is the pad. He opens the pad. And he says that there is no password on this phone. Some of the pictures, Signal Messenger, by the way. And everything of that is legit. There was the fight in this place, this headquarters. Russians little by little enter it, but Ukrainian officers were capable to leave this area. This is the central desk with a map, all of the equipment, the planning room of the defense of Hulyaipole and nearby territories. That's what those Russians say. One more room. This is the desk of the commander, this Russian says, and those are the official stamps of this battalion. It's all official, guys. This video is damn legit. Something is even connected, some printer. You see, they have electricity even, which is quite rare. Sofa, and this is, those are the screens, the monitors, where the drones send the information live. And here is the laptop, all of the identifications of the laptop, and definitely it's Ukrainian. So yeah, it's 100% a legit video. So here they say that they will extract all of the information from those laptops, from the servers, all of the paper documents which were left, and they will use to uncover the secret data to be used in their next successful offensive operations. And definitely there are two major spots for Ukraine. One is this Hulyaipole, the other one is Siversk, where Ukraine is not that capable for defense. You see, this territorial defense, those are mostly mobilized people. They're far to reach the level of the 3rd Assault Corps, of the Azov Corps. They're just regular, not Chmobiks, I would say, but still they're not that capable to withstand those Russian attacks. Unfortunately, Ukraine doesn't have enough resources. Ukraine sent those fire brigades to the most hot directions of Pokrovsk, Konstantinivka, but it's not possible to secure elsewhere. In Kupiansk, Ukraine was successful in counterattack, and now still counterattacking in different areas, but this territorial defense and the command of the territorial defense, I would say it's not that competent and as the other command of Ukrainian army. Sadly, but it's true, and today I listened to Sternenko, who is the biggest Ukrainian volunteer, and he says that there should be definitely reforms in Ukrainian army. It seems like those reforms should be started from the territorial defense. So here is Hulyaipole. Ukraine lost the control over the headquarters, and Russians, it seems like they already captured the vast part of this settlement, and the Ukrainian soldiers are not capable to stop this Russian attack. And next is the Ukrainian defense, main defense line in this area. So Russians have the ability actually to break through it, and they already did it in Danilivka, but it's just a small Russian flag operation. Later on it will be, I guess, cancelled by Ukrainian army, as it was done in Alexeyevka, Novoalexandrivka and the rest of the places. Also, here is some sort of the Russian convoy that was kicked out, right? Yeah, some of the Russian vehicles are burning, so it's not an easy walk actually for Russians. They have tremendous losses, but in Hulyaipole and Siversk, they're successful. But we have also some of the positive news. This is the Russian air defense system. You can see it was kaboomed by Ukrainian SBU. Also, the Buk air defense was kaputted, multiple of the other systems. Basically, it's the compilation of their job for the last 3 months published by SBU. So the SBU job in kaputting those air defense systems simplifies for Ukrainian long-range drone strikes. Military units, military bases, refineries were hit, and we have lots of the kaboom news coming. For example, we have the fresh video from the Primary drone unit. They show how they kaput and kaboom lots of the Russian systems again in Crimea. They operate in occupied territories mostly. Yeah, there was the Russian missile. And here is one more system. Some of the Russian soldiers are running away. They don't want to be filmed by drones. Come on. The drone footages are the most interesting out there. Here is some air defense. This is S-300. Yeah, I recognize this one, of course. Launcher. What else? Oh, this is the radar and also some Russians. They're running around. Alright, one more from Crimea. Here we have the FP-1 drone strike on one of the boats in Crimea. This is the military boat used for patrolling. So we have this boat, and more videos are coming with Neba-U radar that was hit, some of the base, Russian barracks, some of the storages, ammunition warehouses and so on. Ukrainian drones are very effective in Crimea, elsewhere. Great job done by Ukrainian Primary drone unit. Almost every week we have some of the interesting footage from them, and Russia continued to lose lots of the systems and, by the way, big refineries or oil storages. This video comes from Volgograd. It's not the wildfire, this is the Russian refinery. Yeah, one more strike out there in Volgograd. Russians are happy.
Вот и захотелось какать, товарищи. Лучшее средство от запора – обосраться от беспилотников.
You read the subtitles here, yeah? Yeah, sometimes the reaction is quite unpredicted. Also, yesterday Ukraine hit Novoshakhtinsky oil factory, it's called, with a huge oil storage. Now there is the huge fire. Yeah, this is Novoshakhtinsky. Some of the eyewitness films that. And those are the satellite images from Timuruk port. It was confirmed that Ukraine hit 2 of the very big oil storages there. It is not that far away from Kerch, but it's on the Russian side. Alright, now to the other, can I call those news? Yes, guys, once again Russians are attacking Ukrainian positions on horses. It's not just one video that I filmed about roughly 3 days ago. It happens once again. It's not behind the front lines far away. This is the road that leads to Ukrainian positions, as it was commented under it. This photo was presented by Andrew Perpetua, who analyzes all of the drone images coming from the front lines. He does a fantastic job. And we see how horses, well, they're actually afraid of the drones. I hope that here they were okay, but maybe not. I'm not sure. Russian is there staying with pew pew. It's crazy what they do with the animals, guys. It's, well, we'll see the video published fully, but not yet at this hour. By the time I'm filming this video, it's not yet been released. Poor animals indeed. And if Russians have to use animals, cavalry, or how to call it, it means that definitely they have issues in their army. Oh yeah, just now this video was published, and luckily horses, they dropped those riders and they're alive. They're alive, but the riders are not.
Печальная обстановочка.
Very, very sad, he says. Those are Uaz vehicles. Kupiansk direction, by the way, Russians were trying to leave that city very fast, but the road is slippery, you see. Nice. Jesus Christ. This is the Ukrainian army. Just look. Oh my god. I think that the 3rd Army Corps, they're using the most of the drones equipped with those machine guns. They're quite effective, I might say. They may hold positions for a very long time without any sort of the risks for the soldiers' lives. This is outstanding, and Ukraine is way better in those technologies compared to the Russian army. Yes, Russians also have those drones, or bots, it's better to call them, but Ukraine has more, and they're more advanced. To some of the political news, probably there's gonna be the meeting between American and Ukrainian presidents this Sunday. It means that maybe they reached some certain agreement about those points of the peace plan. At least Ukraine with the United States, they may sign something. And later on present those points to Russia. Well, actually, those were already presented to Kremlin. We're waiting for some sort of the signal from Putin. But Russian officials today commented that they still want Donbass. They agree on several of the points, but Donbass is the main factor for them. For Ukraine, it's the same, so territorial dispute plays the great role, and there are some of the rumors now ongoing about possible elections in Ukraine, referendums about those territories, and that Putin is willing even for the ceasefire by the time of the referendum. But actually, according to Ukrainian constitution, referendums are forbidden about the questions of sovereign integrity of the country. So to make this referendum to happen, Ukraine needs to change the constitution, which is now impossible to achieve because members of parliament, they will be against it. So as for me, it's the never-ending story, and idea for Putin is to negotiate for negotiations, simultaneously continue the military action in Ukraine. I do not expect for this war to stop in the next couple of years. As you see, those negotiations, they haven't brought war to standstill or closer. No, we see the escalation of the war actually. Since Donald Trump became a president of the United States, there are many more aerial strikes on Ukraine, kabooms, and Russia is more active on the front lines too. So I do not expect anything good from the current White House administration, as I tell you in every of my videos. Russian police are storming the cult members. The cult is some sort of the church that was founded in Ukraine, but it was working in Russia and probably still working. The members went to the meeting and they pray for the armed forces of Ukraine and President Zelensky. That's why they were ambushed by the Russian police. Well, that cult I like, actually. So not all of the Russians are Putin supporters. Yes, there is the opposition cult, and many ordinary Russians are against Russian regime, but they don't do a thing to get rid of it, unfortunately. They understand that they're gonna be just jailed or flatlined completely, so they do not risk. The Russian society, well, still majority is sick of chauvinism virus and they support Putin, sadly. This is the rare exception, I would say, those cult members. And here I want to share my deepest regards and thanks to Patreon supporters who make this content possible. Guys, if you want to support my job, please check out the link in the video description just below for joining my Patreon, or consider it if you can, if you wish, if you want to keep me running, as well as you may join, for example, membership. If you watch me on YouTube, you may check out the join button somewhere below. And thank you, because you employed me on this job. While this war continues, I'm gonna film videos almost every day, as far as I can. And as alternative, if you can support me in that way, you may just press your like to this video and subscribe for the channel to boost this video in YouTube algorithms or in Spotify algorithms, because we're also on Spotify. The links for all of my social media you may find in the video description just below. And now guys, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.